Right, frontal blessings. We are back with another video. All right, year's winding down. Getting to the final days of 2023. All right, before I get into it, some announcements. If you are interested in a yearly forecast reading, okay. If you're interested in a 2024 yearly forecast reading, you can book that now. I'm doing that from now until about the first week in February, give or take. And again, as I've been saying the last few videos, it is extremely busy right now. I'm probably booking them. No, not probably. I am booking them more this year than in previous years. So a lot of people are doing it this year than the last few years. I mean, there's a lot of people doing it prior to this, but it's even heavier this year. So please be patient. Nothing for the rest of this week as the recording of this video. So definitely no openings till after Christmas is over. I will be able to do a few between Christmas and New Year's. There's some spots available. Once the holidays clear, as we get into the early portion of January, I'll be back to pretty much more of a fuller schedule. All right. If you're interested in that or any other reading that I offer, a Clepothic Demonic reading, a Egyptian Oracle reading, a Santa Muerte reading, a Shadow Work reading, which is a great place to start, or one of the first reading that's great to do right out the gate, or if you're looking for a sense of direction of where you should be headed. As we know, Shadow Work is a continuing, ongoing process that one should be doing regularly. Or if you're interested in a spiritual consultation or any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. All right, and I'll get that information over to you. Again, mark your calendars. Don't forget next Friday night, December 29th, we will be doing a end of the year 2023, end of the year 2024 prophecy class. I'll be basically going over, recapping the 2023 year. I'll be communicating to you information that the spirits are sending me of what we can expect and prepare for in 2024. I will also be doing some on-the-spot readings right there for people in the room. So if you are on Patreon, you have access to that class. You don't need to do anything. You've got the notification. You've already got the Zoom link for that class. If you are not on Patreon and you would like to be a part of that class, you can sign up. That information is on our social media pages on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9. It's also on Facebook, Primordial Chaos Facebook. Or you can go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, and you can sign up for tier 3, and that will give you access to the class. Okay. And speaking of classes, that's the way you sign up for the classes that I do offer. I have a bunch of continual, ongoing series of classes on various aspects of the occult and the left-hand path. Go to the page, check it out. When you do join the page, you not only get access to the classes from the day you join moving forward, you get access to everything that is in the archives going 3+ years back, plus all of the ritual work that's in the classes, the group ritual work. Everything on the Patreon page is categorized and in chronological order, so you can take those classes. All of the resources, books, and the work is connected to those classes, and you can take them on your own time, right? Because everything is archived and recorded, and again, encouraged to get to the classes live when I actually do them live, so you can interact with everybody else, plus myself. You have the ability to ask me direct questions in those classes. And again, it's for that purpose. So, if you're looking to take your path of self-mastery up another notch, that's the way you want to do it. Okay? Also, check us out again on Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. I also upload all the new content there. Check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9. Also, take a mental note, 7th Annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, October 2024. There'll be more as we get into next year on that. Just want to keep planting that seed. Other than that, everything that I just mentioned, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos podcast, too. The direct link to the podcast is in the description box of this video, along with my contact email address, the direct link for the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of that information is in the description box of this video that you are watching now. All right, so what I briefly want to talk about, this will be a short tutorial on the 21 divisions of Voodoo or Voudon. And all I want to focus on in this quick video, there's different methods from different perspectives and different cultures and approach. All right, so let me just clarify, because this comes up a lot, right? There's some similarities, but yet some differences. So I want to make it clear. You can work with the 21 divisions in what we know as through Dominican Voodoo or Voudon. And that's something I was connected to. Well, I don't want to say was, still am, but work it now in my own way based on the knowledge I gathered over the years of working with the 21 divisions. There's the system through what they call Dominican Voodoo or Dominican Voudon, where they work with the Gaydays, the Rada and the Loha Petras, the different barons. I'll explain in a second. But again, this is going to be brief. It really gets a little bit more detail. This is just going to be a quick refresher. There's also the aspect in what they call Puerto Rican Sansei or Puerto Rican Voodoo or Voudon. Very similar. And I'm going to talk about the three main systems that we're familiar with here in the United States of America and the Caribbean. And then there's Haitian Voodoo or Voudon, which is, that probably differs a bit from the previous two. A lot of similarities, differs a bit. And then let me also include another aspect, really a fourth one, the New Orleans aspect of Voodoo, Hoodoo, or Voudon, which the difference with that is it integrates a lot of the deities in the 21 divisions, the different Loas, and also it incorporates some Orishi or Orisha, depending on how you want to pronounce it, some Ifa spirituality. It will also incorporate some traditions that have their root in New Orleans. You also see a connection in some of these systems with Santa Muerte, certain aspects, the Holy Death is connected there, deities like Saint Expedite, and a lot of them too. We need to understand this too. You must be able to be intelligent and wise enough to see the one thing, even like Ifa and Santeria, has been influenced, and I like to even say infiltrated, by Catholicism and Christianity. Now, this is a debatable topic. Where does this have place in the occult and the left-hand path? Now, as I've said before, I have when I'm working with Voodoo or Voudon, especially with, as I've mentioned to you guys, with Papa Legba and certain deities, based on ancestral lineage, there is some connection with that in my bloodline with Catholicism. But I've worked with that in my own unique way. I personally don't encourage connecting with that any aspect. And I want to be clear on saying this. I don't want there to be no confusion. I'm not telling people what they should or should not do. I can only tell you my experience, what works for me. I don't really incorporate as a whole much of that. So in the methodologies of the systems, there's going to be some differences, right? Whether you're working Haitian Voudon or Voodoo, whether you're working New Orleans Voodoo, Hoodoo, whether you are working Puerto Rican Sansei or the 21 divisions of Dominican Voodoo or Voudon. Obviously, when you look at the geographical location of those islands in the Caribbean, they're all pretty much side by side with each other. So the influence is obvious, and why the influence is there, and why the interconnectedness. But when you're working with deities like Legba, Baron Criminal, Baron Samdi, Mama Buget, right? They all work with them in some same form or fashion. Now, in Dominican voodoo of Voudon, there's aspects like I did in the video not too long ago, a few days back or several days ago with Belly Belcan, or who some know as San Miguel, the angel Saint Michael. There's some differences there. Now, some aspects of the 21 divisions, and a lot of it, they don't really work with animal or blood sacrifice. I'm not saying they don't at all, but a lot of 21 division practitioners don't really work with it. I know some that don't even work with it at all. They work with them. There's offerings there and workings, but it doesn't deal with a lot of the blood animal sacrifice. Now, traditional Haitian voodoo or Voudon does work with that a lot, right? Because we know some of the, the deities in voodoo and Voudon, there's certain animals that are attributed to them, and some of those animals are connected with powerful sacrifices for those loa, right? So again, you're going to find the methodologies, the systems, the practices are going to vary depending on the traditions. Now, having said all that, this video is not being done because I'm encouraging people to or not to get involved in traditional voodoo or Voudon or the 21 divisions. It's to educate you. So you make that choice or decision. Please don't email me asking me, I want to get initiated. Can you refer me to anybody? I don't deal with that no more. Okay? And I do still have my connections with what I went through, but you got to understand, it doesn't work like that. You don't just randomly refer people. These traditions are very protected from mouth to ear. And a lot of these houses, they don't just take anybody, right? You have to establish a relationship. So, having said that, if that is one of your goals and you're seeking that, you must find somebody local that you can connect with on a local level, build that relationship and trust, and then go from there. And look, I know it's tough today because there's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of con artists, a lot of hustlers. You're just going to have to be very diligent and aware of that, okay? And that's from the traditional aspect. I'm not really interested in that anymore. I'm not trying to teach anybody that anymore. I've been showing you guys for several years how you can work, whether it's voodoo or Voudon, certain aspects of Ifa and Palo from your own occult left-hand path perspective, regardless of what the traditionalists say. And I respect the traditionalists. I respect the low. I respect the deities. And it has nothing to do with that, right? So any traditionalist say, well, you can't do that. That's not true, okay? So it's more of a thing. You stay in your lane, I stay in my lane. I'm not worried about what you're doing, so don't worry about what I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing is getting results, and that's all that matters. Okay, so that's just a matter of opinion. We ain't gonna waste our time on shit like that. Okay, what I'm simply doing here in this quick tutorial is to just give you a quick understanding, because you see a lot of this stuff, and it appears on the surface it's very similar and the same. And again, it is and it's not. Okay? It is and it's not. So do your research. Some of you may be familiar, very familiar with what I'm talking about. Some of you may be new. Some of you may have thought it was all the same thing. You didn't know there was a difference like that. And there is. Okay? And sometimes that has to do with ethnicity, cultural upbringing. But when you look at, again, in that region, whether it's the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Haiti, these islands are all neighbors of each other, right? And they all intermix with each other, and this is why you'll see a lot of similarities, right? And it's there, right? Because they work with the deities, in those pantheons in very similar ways. Now, the names, too, you'll notice sometimes slightly vary. Sometimes, especially with the barons, they vary slightly, but it's very obvious in identifying which one is which. They still break the loa down into the Petros and the Radas, the fiery spirits, and the more quote-unquote non-fiery spirits, which I have my own perspective on that. I think that's just creating that separate. Yeah, there is a difference, but I think sometimes that's just from a personal opinion or perspective. That's entirely based on your understanding of it. But the methodology, and really, I'm going to be honest with you, they talk about 21 divisions, that Legba being obviously the key component to those divisions, his number being 3. We're dealing with 21, 3 multiples of 3. 3 times 7 is 21, 2 and 1 is 3. It's actually way more than 21 divisions, right? They just tell you the main deities in those divisions, but that really breaks into other sub-divisions, for a lack of a better word. It's not technically just 21 divisions or paths with these deities. It's a lot more when you start to study, research, and become a practitioner. Now, real quick, the last thing I want to finish up with, okay? And this is probably where the biggest separation of what I do comes into play with what the traditionalists do. I don't work with it in that traditional way. I definitely don't work with it with doing all those animal sacrifices and excess offerings. There's way to work with it on an esoterical level. I'm not saying can't do offerings, and I do some offerings. Always the main ones like fresh water, rum, cigars, things of that nature I will do that are more spiritual in nature in my point. Sigil work is very powerful that you can do in the methodology that we practice, invoking, especially with the different paths of Legba. And I might do a video on the paths of Ishu, a little more in depth. Activating those sigils and the different kingdoms of Oshu, for an example, in Voodoo and Voudon, and more so Candomblé and Kimbanda. All of that work can be done. And so I'll work with offerings such as that. I don't deal with any animal sacrifice. Personal blood offering from yourself, yes. Meditations, sigil work, invocations, spell work. So all of this can still be worked with more in the perspective of how we work with it. As you know, if you've been down here with me before, we'll play the drums for the spirits. Drum gatherings is great for these spirits, things of that nature. So I connect with it on that level. So I do still work and connect with it using those methodologies. So we're looking to utilize it more from a path of self-mastery perspective, not so much a traditional path. Because if you go through the traditional paths, as I said in the past, I don't care if it's Ifa, Santeria, I don't care if it's Voodoo, Voudon, Palo, whether it's Palo Mante, Palo Mayembe, and you belong to a traditional house, I'm going to say it again, and I'll keep saying it again over and over. You have to follow the rules and regulations of that traditional house. It's not an option. And that's probably going to suppress your path of self-mastery. And it's probably not going to be able for you to develop that path to your full potential, because you'll be restricted by a lot of tradition. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of religious nonsense and foolishness. Okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to tell it to you. Excuse me. As it is. All right. So that's kind of basically it. Like I said, I just wanted to go through a brief understanding of the difference, between the aspects of the 21 divisions and how it's worked with, and what we're calling Voodoo or Voudon. I mean, obviously it gets a lot more intricate, a lot more detailed, but I just want to, again, those are not the 3, but the 4 main systems we're probably familiar with here in America. Again, whether it's Puerto Rican Sansei, whether it's Dominican Voodoo or Voudon, Haitian Voodoo or Voudon, or New Orleans Voodoo, right? And again, as I said, with the New Orleans aspect of it coming out of that tradition, right, it infuses a lot of different others there. In that, you see aspects of Palo Mayembe, Ifa, and some of the origins of the original tradition, say through people like Marie Laveau, and some of the traditions that have their root and origin in New Orleans, like a Bokor in New Orleans has a whole different approach or perspective than, say, a traditional Haitian Voodoo or Voudon priest. It's a little bit different. It's not the same thing. And it's not the same in regards to the methods, the methodologies, and the practices. That's it. So do your research. Again, There's a lot more on this, but remember, these short videos are just quick tutorials just to open you up, give you some quick information, encourage you to do further research. Like I say, we have a great Urzili Dantor working for 2024. That'll be for 12 months, one for every month. Those that are on the Patreon page will have access to this. Tier 3 and above, you'll be able to participate in this yearly working in addition to the stuff that we're doing on the regular. All right? We'll be incorporating some more work in 2024 with this type of energy to get you guys acclimated with it for those that are interested. All right? Other than that, I am at my destination. So, again, if you need to reach out to me, again, if you're interested in booking a 2024 yearly forecast reading or any other reading or consultation, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. If you want to sign up for classes, you want to get the link to the podcast, okay? All of those links for classes, the podcast, social media pages, my contact email address, all of that information is in the description box of this video you are watching right now. Everything is there. So all you got to do is go into the description box and you have access to all that. All right. And again, don't forget, next Friday night, December 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be doing the 2023 end of the year 2024 prophecy class. I'll probably be going live maybe tonight on YouTube for my final live of 2023. So some stuff coming up to finish the year. And then, as you know, in between, I'll be popping these short videos up. Seems like you guys like these videos a lot. I get a lot of positive feedback from these short videos. People always giving me good feedback that it's great. They can listen to them. They're not super long, and they get a lot of information from them. And that was the goal of starting this a few months ago. So let me just throw quick tutorials up on a consistent basis. Because I know sometimes, man, you know me when I go live. I mean, live's different. I mean, it could be 3-4 hours, and it could be a lot. Sometimes people can't cipher through all that. Some do. Some of you love the lives too. I'll definitely always keep doing those. But, you know, we'll continue this trend in 2024. Keep pumping these short 20, 25, 30-minute videos out. All right? But other than that, that's all I got for you in this. I'll probably get one more of these recorded today. Try to get a couple of these up today. That's all I got for you now. I'll talk to you guys soon on the next video. Infernal blessings. I'm out of here.